الله.
الحمد لله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وذريته إلى يوم الدين. وبعد، يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ثم أما بعد. As to what follows, we start by remembering what has happened in the news and also what has affected our community recently. The hate graffitis around the city, in the main mosque at SNMC, they tried to burn the garbage bins, and here as well there were graffitis, and around the world this has been a reaction. But we have to expect this reaction, and we will say simply the following. For now, inshallah, we ask Allah to guide all those who are ignorant about Islam. Our Master Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, peace be upon him, the Prophet of Allah, said, may Allah forgive them, for they do not know. Allahumma ighfir liqawmi fa innahum la ya'lamun. And this is the words of Sayyidina Joseph, Yusuf alayhi salam. And these are the words of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we ask Allah to guide them and to forgive them. And it's because of ignorance. It's because of ignorance, and it's also because of a heart which is empty. Today I want to continue speaking about love. And before speaking about love, I want to touch upon something which is related to what I've started to speak about. I've read an article in one of the magazines, and it was titled as follows: why is it that some people have everything and they're still not happy with anything? How come? It speaks about a young man who was a champion in games. He was a gamer. He was a champion gamer. And he had become the top scorer of world, like some name or another. And he said, I thought that if I had become the best, I would be happy. But I wasn't. He was young and very thin, so he started to work out and eat protein bars, and he became ripped and fit. And he even started to do fitness. He became a fitness model, and he said, I am still not happy. Then he went through college and university. And he did very well, and he even got a beautiful job that earned him a lot of money. And he bought a little apartment, a studio in the city. And after that he said, I'm still not happy. I wish I can get some more money. After a few years, his salary doubled and tripled, and he was still not happy. And at the end of the article he said, I'm not happy because of this relationship that I have with myself. And the truth is, it's the relationship that he doesn't have with Allah. But what he said is true, because we have a khabar in the sunnah which says, Man arifa nafsahu arifa rabbahu. The one who knows himself, he knows his Lord. Yes, this is a hadith mawdu'. We understand this is a hadith which is not authentic. Sayyidina Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says, hadithun mawdu'. But there is a wisdom behind these beautiful words. The one who does not know himself does not know Allah. Sayyidina Ibn Ata'illah al-Sakandari, he says, Man arifa nafsahu bidhulliha wa ajziha wa faqriha. The one who knows himself because he knows that it is futile, it is nothing. The one who knows himself because we are not capable, we are weak, and we are in a constant state of need. عارف الله بعزه وقدرته وغناه. Then he knows Allah because He is the most powerful, He is eternal in His magnanimity and His wealth. فتكون معرفته النفس أولا في معرفة الله من بعد. So this is where he started. He wanted to start. He needed to start about himself, to understand that he is nobody. And then he could be happy. And this is what we are going to speak about, but from the angle of love. Allah in the Quran says, والذين آمنوا تطمئن قلوبهم ألا بذكر الله تطمئن قلوبهم الذين آمنوا تطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله ألا بذكر الله تطمئن قلوبهم ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. The verse says, those who believe, their hearts become appeased with the remembrance of Allah. Indeed, with the remembrance of Allah, the believers find peace of heart. It's with the remembrance of Allah that the hearts find peace. So it is by knowing Allah, by turning towards Him, by loving Him, taking the path towards Allah. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, there was a beautiful saying in this Isra'iliyya. He says, Ya Rabbi, ayna anta fa'aqsuduka. He says this in a symbolic way. He says, Ya Allah, where are you so I can go towards you? He says, إِذَا قَصَدْتَ قَالَ إِذَا قَصَدْتَ فَقَدْ وَصَلْتَ. He says, if you have taken the first step towards me, then you have started on the way towards me. And this is the meaning of the hadith al-Qudsi. وَمَا لَا يَزَلُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. And my slave servant keeps coming close to me with the nawafil until I love him. And this makes him a beautiful person, because he says, and if he does so, if I love him, he becomes the ears with which he hears, and I become his eyes with which he sees, and I become his tongue with which he speaks, and I become his hands with which he slaps or hurts or pushes, and then I become his feet. So he cannot do anything wrong, because now he has the beautiful characters that Allah has given him. But we go through this life and we become distracted and we are disrupted, and this is to our own good. We think that we cannot do anything because we're so weak, but this is to our own good, to feel our weakness. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And perchance that you hate something, you hate that you're so weak, that you don't obey Allah so much, that you don't do so much nawafil. But after each salah and at the end of each day, make tawbah and return to Allah. يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم إنه ليغان على قلبي فأستغفر الله في كل يوم وليلة 70 مرة. The Prophet ﷺ was in a state of constant rise, a constant state of spiritual increase. Not like us, we go up and down. Rasulullah ﷺ, when he increased, he would say, إِنَّهُ لَيُغَانُ عَلَىٰ قَلْبِي. So he makes istighfar for the state in which he was the day before. But the lesson that we have to learn is that we have to be consistent. Our relationship with Allah has to be consistent. Even if it's small, it must be regular. And if you can increase 5% every year, it is a victory. If you do a shafi'i wal watr last year, this year you should increase it with the sunnah after Isha. يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم من استوى يومه فهو مغبور ومن كان يومه أسوأ من أمسه شر من أمسه فهو ملعون. He says, if the days of a person are equal, then he is deluded. He's not doing well. And if his day today is worse than the day before, then he's cursed. We have to increase our relationship with Allah. And the other ingredient is to worship Allah and to go through this journey towards Allah with love, yes, but with fear as well. I know we've focused on love and hope, but we have to also think of fear. يقول المؤلف من عبد ربه من طريق المحبة والخوف أحبه الله تعالى فقربه ومكنه وعلمه. This is the path of the believer. This is the path, the balanced path of the Muslim. We are people of rationale. We are sober human beings. We have to live in reality. So we live with hope, with amazing hope, but we also from fear of Allah. The one who worships Allah between fear and hope, between fear and love, Allah loves him and He will bring him close. And He will make him steadfast and He will teach him. The other ingredient in our relationship with Allah is that we do things in secrecy, as in that hadith, حتى لا يعلم شماله ما تنفق يمينه, until in that hadith where Allah praises those who will be under the shade of Allah. رجل, the man who made sadaqah and his left hand does not know what his right hand does. Sometimes we need to do it in public, but I'm speaking about al-ibadat, not just a sadaqah. the ibadat, which must be in secrecy. Do your qiyam, do your crying, your khushu' must be between you and Allah. Those tears should be between you and Allah. Between you and Allah. يقول الشاعر على أن للرحمن سرا يصونه إلى أهله في السر والصون أجمل. I remember the story of a man in Cairo 40 years ago who became rich. He became a rich construction tycoon. And he wanted to build a mosque for the sake of Allah. So he collected money and he put it in a safe. And every month he would pull some money out to start building the masjid. And when he opened the safe, he always discovered that the money was the same. That the amount of money was not reduced. So he went back the second month and the amount of money remained the same. And he went the third month and the fourth month and he thought that he was going crazy. By Allah, we have to believe in this karamat. This is a true story. The man went and he complained to Shaykh al-Azhar in his days. And he told him, had you kept quiet, had you left this secret affair between you and Allah, he would have remained that same amount until the masjid was built. We have that secrecy between you and Allah. That love between you and Allah. That sadaqah which your left hand does not know what your right hand gives. And when you have this relationship, please come forward, there's more people coming in today. And when you have this relationship with Allah, then Allah will give you what you wish. In this dunya you will have what you want. All you will do is raise your hand and He will give you. In the Israeliyat we were told in Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, they had 7 years of drought. And finally, he asked Allah, Ya Allah, help us. We'll do istisqa. And he says, how can I give you? How can I give you? And all those people, those people have sinned. They are sinners. So go and speak to Barakh, this slave, servant of Allah, that no one knows. Go and ask for him. So he made dua to see Barakh. Just like Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, who asked Sayyidina Al-Abbas to do istisqa for the Muslims in their days. So when he found him, he said, Istasqi lana. So he went to this istisqa, and there were 70,000 of them. And he raised his hand, this slave of Allah that no one knew. And he says, أَمِشْتَدَّ غَضَبُكَ عَلَى الْمُذْنِبِينَ أَلَسْتَ كُنْتَ غَفَّارًا قَبْلَ خَلْقِ الْخَطَّائِينَ خَلَقْتَ الرَّحْمَةِ. And so he spoke to him with a heart which was broken. أَنَا مَعَ الْمُنْكَسِرَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِي. I am with those whose hearts are so humble. They're dirt in their inside. They're so humble. And they're so innocent. And so it rained until everything flourished and turned green. And Allah turns to what? And Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he even asked about the secret. And he told him the secret. I'm skipping this word in case some people don't understand. And another story which happened in the days of the Tabi'een, which happens in the days of Sahaba radiallahu anhum, when Sayyidina Abu Musa al-Ash'ari was in al-Basra, and when the city burned down, except for one house in the middle of the city. You will find this in the books of history. Everything burnt except this humble house in the middle. And so Abu Musa al-Ash'ari called for this man, and he was an old man. And he came to him and he says, what is it? What is it that you do, that you did, that your house was not burned? He says, إِنِّي أَقْسَمْتُ عَلَى رَبِّي عَزَّ وَجَلِّ أَنْ لَا يَحْرِقَهَا. I have asked Allah that He does not burn my house. All he did is raise his hands, and the impossible happened. And then he mentioned this hadith, يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم, يكون في أمتي قوم شحتة رؤوسهم دنيسة ثيابهم لو أقسموا على الله لأبرهم. This sigha, this particular form of the hadith is weak, but there are many hadith, as you know. رب أشعث أكبر ذو طمرين لو أقسم على الله لأبره. This is true. Hadith sahih. Someone who's so humble, if he raises his hands, Allah will answer him. This is the relationship that every Muslim should seek. أقول على قولي أستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. And one of the results, min thamarati hubbillah, min thamarati al-ibadah, one of the results of the love of Allah. And we're not talking about hippie love. We don't speak about love because we're hippies. Love is part of Islam. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. It's the type of love that guides you towards divine love. It's not about puppy love or fatal romantic attraction. We're talking about the love which is sober, which brings you to Allah. And the result of this love is that we are pleased, we are content with what goes on in our lives. If you remember the crisis you had, not last week but last night, this morning, but you are pleased with Allah. Radiallahu anhum wa radu anhu. Allah speaks about the companions, that He's pleased with them, that you are pleased with your situation. يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم طوبى لمن هدي للإسلام وكان عيشه كفافا ورضي به. Pleasure. He says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, good news, glad tidings. He's happy, the person who was guided to Islam. Your iman is the greatest thing you own. And who is earning, it's just enough that he's pleased with. He's happy with what he has. This is the rida which Allah praises in the Quran about the companions. And He says in the Quran, وَمَسَاكِنَ طَيِّبَةً فِي جَنَّاتِ عَدْنٍ وَرِضْوَانٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. He speaks about ar-ridwan, this pleasure with Allah, as even greater than the station of the gardens in heavens. And we are told in the hadith that Allah يتجلى يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى يتجلى للمؤمنين فيقول سلوني فيقولون رضاك. Allah will unveil His magnanimous and noble face to the believers on the Day of Judgment, and this is by the consensus of all Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And they will look at Him and they will ask them, what do you wish? And they will say, your pleasure. Ridaka. Ar-rida is the most beautiful thamara of love. And some scholars have said that rida is even higher than looking at the face of Allah. But the truth is that if you have Allah's rida, you will continue to see His face on the Day of Judgment. And the last thing that I want to share with you, all of these things, all of the problems that we have with our children, with ourselves, with our communities, with the people outside of the masjid, our friends who are not Muslims, it's because they don't have role models that guide them to the right path. They don't have anyone anymore to look up to. But for you, all Muslims, you have to look up to our scholars, the Sahaba, the Tabi'een, the ulama, and those of us who are alive, the ulama who walk around us, to sit at their feet and to show them humility, to love them, to love the scholars. When was the last time you sat with a scholar and you kissed his hand on his forehead? When? Humble yourself for them because they know Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يقول أحد الحكماء علماء كادوا بعلمهم كادوا من فقههم أن يكونوا أنبياء. These people are so wise and knowledgeable that they almost reach the station of the prophets. Of course they're not prophets. يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم العلماء ورثة الأنبياء. That the scholars are the true inheritors, inheritors of knowledge. So we have to sit with these people to learn the meaning of life, to learn how to be humble, to learn how to have rida, to be pleased, to learn how to love Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يقول أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه خدمت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم 10 سنين. I have served the Prophet ﷺ 10 years, this beautiful companion. فَمَا قَالَ لِي لِشَيْءٍ فَعَلْتُهُ لِمَا فَعَلْتَهُ. And he never told me about something that I did. Why have you done so? وَلِشَيْءٍ لَمْ أَفْعَلْهُ لِمَا لَمْ تَفْعَلْهُ ولا في شيء كان ليته ولا يكن ولم يكن ولا في شيء لم يكن ليته كان. this is what he taught him. He says, I have never done something and he told me, why did you do it? Or if I did something, if I didn't do it, why didn't you do it? And if something wasn't, I wish it was. Or if it was, I wish it wasn't. La. This you learn not from the books, not even from the minbar. You learn by being with the suhbah of your parents and the ulama. And by concluding, before concluding, I know that we have problems in our community. And one of them is what I've mentioned in the beginning. And the second one is the problems that we have with our children. We have to offer them a sanctuary for them to come to us. And if one of them wants to get married, why do we make it hell? And this dowry and this heavy and this expensive walima and all of this, we have to be humble with this. Wallahi, there's barakah by being humble in his wala'im. Be easy with the good Muslims and be easy with the bad Muslims. And by summarizing this khutbah about love, there are so many definitions, but I'll finish with the definition of Sayyidina Sufyan ibn Uyayna. He says, Al-mahabbatu ittiba'u Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If you get lost in all these definitions, listen to this beautiful definition. To love Allah is to follow the sunnah of Nabiyyina Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يقول الله تعالى قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم وألف بين قلوب المؤمنين. اللهم وأعزنا بالإسلام والسنة. اللهم وأعز أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اغفر لنا، اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم الأموات. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد.